we are right on time, I think. So how are we all doing today? Everybody good? Let me see those chat messages popping up so I know. There, awesome. Good to see you all. Hello, everybody. Hello. Such a good thing. I mean, online events, they are always a surprise, you know. I mean, I'm here, you know, like talking to my computer, but I know I have lots of very interesting people I would love to see face to face. But I mean, that's what we have today, right? So it's awesome. I'm seeing lots of people here. Oh, hello from Panama. That's great. Lots of people. Definitely. I'll just wait a couple more minutes, all right? Because I think we have some more people coming. So, and then we can start. And this is beautiful. From Colombia, São Paulo. Oh, that's my city. That's beautiful. Jabuticabal. We have lots of people. This is great. By the way, I would love if you all could write the places where you live on the chat. As we say in Portuguese, right? Oh, I'm using this for my TCC. I'll try to do something with the places we are all from. And we will be talking a little bit about phonetics today, so I'll try not to give any spoilers about what we're going to see today. That's for sure. But I would just love, you know, to see where you all are from, because we're gonna look into different things. Definitely. We will be looking into accent. That's for sure. I mean, I believe you all have read the abstract for this talk. I really hope so. But linguistic variation is related to many different things, many different features related to language. So this is definitely something we will be looking at. And besides that, we also will be looking a little bit into linguistics, the science, right? So the linguistic science and some of its different paths into the humanities, which is a very interesting field of study in my opinion. So we're getting more people, lots of people. Good afternoon, everybody. This is good. Just 1 more minute, okay? And then we will start. And how's the weather, by the way? Here where I live in the countryside in São Paulo. It's kind of chilly. I mean, in the morning it was very cold, but now we have this beautiful sunny day, but still it's kind of chilly. Not. I mean, I really prefer hot weather, but I mean, yeah, it's not very cold here. But I mean, it's still a beautiful day. Definitely a beautiful afternoon for our gathering here, our online gathering. So sunny and warm in Brasilia. That's good. That's nice. Good to know. I like. I was just checking the sky before I logged in here. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna have rains today. Beautiful. Ribeirão Preto is like hell. I can imagine that. It's pretty hot there, right? Yeah, it's not. Definitely not. But you know, cloudy in São Paulo. São Paulo is always cloudy, right? Crazy weather. This is great. So everybody, I believe we have lots of people. I believe we have some people coming, but I'll just start. I'll just try to go ahead, because what I have planned for our next 50 minutes together, I mean, I know it's an hour, but I'll try to keep it around 50 minutes, because I may get carried away and those things happen, you know. So what we'll be looking at here is linguistic variation in English language teaching. And I came up with this fancy subtitle, A Matter of Social Justice. And as I was saying a little bit before, we will be looking into linguistic variation. Definitely, that's for sure. We'll be looking into linguistics in general. So how this science, because linguistics is a science, right? What we do every day in our classrooms with our students, or whenever we are learning a second language, or even our own mother tongues, is related to science. So definitely we're going to be looking a little bit into that as well. And I'll try to make some connections, and I would love to hear your opinions on that, on how language and society are connected. I mean, they're definitely connected. Language only exists because humans use it. So I believe this will be very interesting. And I'd like to start by also wishing that, I wish that everybody's well protected in your houses, you know. We are living through dark times, very hard times with this pandemic. So I know online teaching and it's pretty hard. Online conferences, they are amazing because we can get connected even if we live far away. But still, I really hope everybody's safe, everybody's protected, and I mean, yeah, that's really what I'm wishing here. So I'd like to talk a little bit about myself real quick before we go on. And I also would like to thank so much Disal for this amazing opportunity. And it's an honor to be here, to be part of this amazing series of webinars on language teaching, education, language itself. You know, especially because this theme I'm going to talk about is not something that appears a lot in conferences. I've been trying to talk a little bit about this in some conferences I have attended in the last years. So what we will see here today is a little bit of some stuff I've been thinking during my PhD. So I am a PhD candidate in linguistics. I study at the State University of Campinas at EL, the Language Studies Institute, and I have a master's also in linguistics. So, but what I study actually in my PhD is theoretical linguistics. So it's more the theory, it's not applied. So how can I apply, that's some of the ideas I've been having. How can I apply this into our classrooms, or how can I connect this to language teaching, language learning, and especially society? Because my field of studies is sociolinguistics. And sociolinguistics is pretty much the connection we have between society, language, and culture. So how those things come together. And actually, I would ask how those things are not together, right? Language is pretty much the sum up of all those features, all those factors together. Besides that, I'm also an English language arts teacher in middle years. So I teach year 6, grade 6, 7, and 8. So, and we know when we teach grade 6, we kind of have to do creative things. So I'll try to, I hope you all enjoy what I'm here to show today. And thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. It's a very, like, I'm very happy to have this opportunity. So what are our goals today? So for those of you who checked my abstract, I have this part in the abstract. So the idea here is to share some insights on sociolinguistic variation and how its awareness can help teachers fight against different forms of intolerance, discrimination, and at the same time foster learners' autonomy and motivation. I believe we have, and I've heard this, some of my students saying this for quite a long time, that, I can get by, my English is good, but I really believe my accent is too strong, or my English is not good because I'm never like, I can't see myself speaking like the characters or the people who appear in movies or maybe in TV series, Netflix. And what we're gonna see is that actually English, and here I'll be referring to English as language variety, right? Language varieties are very diverse, and we have lots and lots of features and characteristics on them. And most of those characteristics, the characteristics we have in our speech, whenever we speak and we believe we have a strong accent, they are also presented, or like we can find them in other native speakers' speech. So this is actually not a webinar on nativeness, so native speakers and the model they have, but rather a webinar talking a little bit on how language diversity is related to different groups of people. And this is pretty much like a sequence of an article I have on Disal blog, and it's called, Is There Linguistic Prejudice in ELT Classes? So somehow I'll try to complete some ideas I present in this article and bring some other things maybe. So yeah, let's see what we have. And I would like to start with a quote from an Indian scholar called Vandana Shiva, in which he says, uniformity is not nature's way, diversity is nature's way. And I bring this quote for us to start because we can think of language. There are some linguistic theories that think of language as a living organism. So we have Mafween, Salikoko Mafween, that's his name, this linguist. He has this theory in which language is nothing but a parasite, which is very, very curious because he connected biology to linguistics. And for him, language is a living being. So as a natural being or a natural object, if we can say that, they can be diverse. They can change. I mean, dogs are different, flowers are different, many things in nature are different. So why would we expect language not to be different, right? And I have a very beautiful art And this, not sure, this picture like is very, very famous on the internet. Not sure if you have ever come by it, but this is an art by Mina Sandberg, and it shows how languages evolve, or how languages, I wouldn't say evolve, but how languages spread and change, even though they stem from a very same source. So here we have the example of Indo-European languages and how they stem, so how they go to different directions. So we can check their branches. We have the European, which is going to divide into Slavic, Romance, Germanic. We have the Indo-Iranian, which is going to show to go into the direction of different languages. And pretty much we can face these differences, how language varies in two, actually more than two, but in two sets of theory. Language varies naturally, so it's something that it's from the language system or the language organism, whatever definition we think it's best, and they can just simply differ by that. But we can also have social components or social features that make language go faster into one direction, maybe into another, or maybe features from society that can even change the course of language itself, really modify a language. I wouldn't say like in its whole, but that maybe can change. And for that, I have a very good meme. You know, I have this dream of one day presenting something, you know, making a presentation only using memes. And I don't know if I got this here, because I have some memes here, maybe 2 or 3, and I hope you guys enjoy them. But I have this meme, and this meme comes from this Facebook page called Trilingual, which is very, very good. If you're looking for language memes, interesting things, we have this. This Facebook page is definitely where you want to go to. And I'll give you all 10 seconds to take a look at this picture. We have some very cute pets, cute animals there. But we do have one difference, okay? So can you spot what is different in this picture? I mean, which object or which pet doesn't belong to the group? This is a very interesting one. I'll give you 5 seconds, those, you know, just to check. Okay, the cat, that's good, that's good. Lots of people saying the cat. And I confess that the first time I look at this, I said, okay, I recognize some flags. Okay, they're countries. I mean, I can see Spain, Portugal, France. You know, but besides that, and then I look at the cat, and I said, okay, first thing, I really didn't know like which flag, I mean, whose country that like would be represented in that flag, and that's Romania, actually. So that's Romania, and they are all from different countries. That's beautiful. I can see all your answers here. And somebody mentioned here, because I'm looking here and I'm always trying to take a look at the chat. Somebody mentioned, okay, there is this very different flag, and it's on like the dog that is on the right corner, right? Like the bigger dog, the biggest dog. He has this flag. It's red with this eagle, golden eagle. So this flag is the flag of the Roman Empire. And we stop and think, okay, so Roman Empire with all those nations that we have nowadays, what's going on? Pretty much the different thing we have here, the cat, is showing how languages that came from the Roman Empire, and Mauro Santos just wrote here, the Roman Empire, how all those languages stem from the same origin, which is Latin, right? But one of them is pretty different. So if I go back to Mina Sandberg's tree, okay, we see that all of them stem from the same place. They all have the same origin, but Romanian is a little bit more different than other Romance languages, right? And let me show you 2 maps. I didn't mention this, but my academic background is very, very, how can I put this? Diverse, maybe a little bit different. But I studied a lot of logistics in the beginning, before I became an English teacher. And we had lots of maps, you know, in my classes. So I'm gonna be showing some maps today. I hope you guys like maps as much as I do. But I have 2 maps here, okay? And the first map shows the Romance languages in Europe. And when you take a look at all of them, okay, we can recognize, okay, Spain's there, Portugal's there, France, Italy. I mean, okay, we do have some varieties in between, like those countries. And then we have on the right side, on the right corner, all alone, left alone, lonely, we have this red place, which is Romania. And then we say, okay, why is Romania, you know, so far away, and like, oh, you know, like, don't touch me, I'm all alone here. And if we go back into history, we can understand why Romanian is considered a Romance language. It comes from Latin, after all. But why it's the most different language we have when we compare them to other languages, so Portuguese, Spanish in Spain or in other countries, France, Italy. And what happens when you take a look at the second map is that we have here the routes, or the roots, of the barbarian invasions during the Roman Empire. We do know that most of those barbarian tribes, and even the term barbarian is a little bit strange, but I'll go with it. Most of those tribes, they spoke languages which would refer to the Germanic branch of languages. So when they come from the right side of the map and they try to take the Roman Empire, which is all on this left side, because this is showing the borders of the Roman Empire, somehow those Germanic tribes, they cut Romania outside. We do know that Germany is like in between, like between Romania and those countries on the left, right? If you take a look at the first map. So Romania somehow stayed like isolated for a long time. And the Latin that was spoken there didn't get into touch, or we didn't have any situation of linguistic contact between different peoples. And like peoples here, I'm talking about different communities, different groups. Therefore, somehow most of the original Latin features, they just prevailed. So that's why Romanian is so different from Portuguese, from Spanish, Italian, even though all those languages can be considered sisters. So there's a movie, the movie is called Tolkien, and it tells the story of Tolkien, who wrote The Lord of the Rings. And in one part of this movie, we all know he was a linguist. And one part of the movie, he says, his teachers tells him, oh, you know, language is nothing but layers and layers of history. And I believe these two maps, when overlapped, they show this very well. Okay, so we can get a lot of information how languages were diversifying themselves throughout history because of social and economic events, you know, and this shows this very, very well. So somehow, whenever we think of different language varieties, we can't think they're just based on geography. I mean, definitely not. Society has a big role in it. And I would like you all just to keep this in mind, okay? Because I'm going to come back to this. So how society can definitely change languages and how it can change the prestige they have. So I would like to show these maps. I'll just go by them very, very quick. But this is the first question I have for us is this afternoon. Are language varieties geographical? Because I mean, I have here 4 maps. One of them is from the United States, and they're dialects. That's how the map calls it. We have United Kingdom, and also their divisions of which type of dialect each part speaks, each group of people speaks. We have some African-speaking, English-speaking countries as well. We can't forget that most of the countries in Africa were colonies, you know, especially in South America as well. And we have a map from Canada. So I believe whenever we are thinking about geography and language varieties, we can think about countries pretty much. But when we are talking about English, definitely, we have one specific variety that comes to mind. So another meme. See, I am the king of memes. I have lots of memes today. The first one, our first part of the meme shows, okay, this is an American website. So this website uses cookies. Whereas the second one, the British website, says this website uses biscuits. Okay, and this is pretty much the thing we have as a linguist. People always ask me, and I try to run away from these questions, I swear. Okay, so what is correct, bolacha or biscoito, you know? So yeah, I mean, I am from São Paulo, so I have to go with bolacha, but I try to, you know, those are the hard type of discussions we have. Yeah, so I try to avoid those. Just read the package. Yeah, just read the package. Somebody said here on the chat, so definitely, I mean, it's a little complicated. But somehow we have these differences, you know. Some words, okay, so the words can show where you come from, maybe where you grow up, where you have studied, maybe. We also have to keep in mind that other countries, and I should have shown this slide before, but besides these two countries, United States and United Kingdom, we also have lots of countries who have their own linguistic variety and who have English as an official language or a native language. There's a small difference on that. If you take a look here, this is a map of Africa, and we see that the red countries speak English as a native language. So whenever we are thinking, okay, what English? I remember when I started studying English, people would ask me, oh, but are you studying American English or British English? And I said, all right. I remember I really didn't, I would say, okay, I believe it's American because they say car, not car, you know, or park, not park. But I would learn years after that many places in New York, like, so if you go to the East Coast, they do speak car and park, even though they are American. So this is something very, very interesting too, very, very curious. But I would like to go from our language varieties, geographical, to this question here, our social. And this is this excerpt I bring here. It comes from John Walker, and he was a lexicographer. And this is a hard word to say. He worked with dictionaries, and he was a British lexicographer, and he created a critical pronouncing dictionary in 1791. And here he's talking about London, okay? I mean, if you take a look, if you see Harry Potter, you know, like the beautiful accent, you see Hermione speaking, Ron speaking, and you say, my God, I want to speak like them. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Radcliffe, the actor who plays Harry Potter, is from London. Beautiful, beautiful accent, but beautiful pronunciation, sorry. But if you go back in time, if you have like a time machine, this would be very interesting. This is what people thought about London accent back then. So I'm gonna read this, okay? So hence it is that the vulgar pronunciation of London, though not half so erroneous as that of Scotland, Ireland, or any of the provinces, is, to a person of correct taste, 1,000 times more offensive and disgusting. So yeah, this is John Walker, okay, talking about people in London. Say, okay, so that's how they speak. I don't like London accent, ugly, very, very ugly. But I mean, if you take London accent today, London pronunciation, even though we have two strong types of so-called dialects, right? We have received pronunciation and Cockney. I mean, they are pretty much the standard, right? If you want to learn to speak, or if you want to speak like a British speaker, that's the pronunciation you would follow probably. And I did some research, and I have my notes here because I am from Humanas, you know, and I have lots of numbers here. But why is John Walker? And then I try to go like, okay, let's go into history, you know, let's try to understand why John Walker would say that about London, you know. And then I have here, so in 1791, this is the data, right? 1/10 of Great Britain's population lived in London. We also have the rise of the cities. So cities are rising, you know, urban cities. And yet London was considered somehow very, very vulgar. You know, like the pronunciation of London was considered very vulgar. It's very curious to see that the same thing happened to the city of São Paulo. And it was pretty much basically like in the same time, the end of the 18th century. There was those debates. They were creating the constitution here in Brazil, and they said, you know, we have to come up with a place to build the first law schools of the country, because we need to build law schools so we don't have to send people away to Portugal anytime they want to study and come back as lawyers. And one congressman back then said, you know, this is my vote. You can build those law schools anywhere in the country, except in São Paulo, because São Paulo has and here I'm quoting him, okay? São Paulo has the worst accent and the worst pronunciation of the country. And I say, okay, like, you know, but what was going on? And if you compare like the cities, London and São Paulo, the way they were growing up, like they were like expanding, they are very similar in many characteristics. So pretty much what's going on is that the people who helped building those cities. You know, the people who were building the buildings, the people who were creating, like laying the bricks, literally. That was the population. So when John Walker says, okay, that's a vulgar pronunciation, that's who he's referring to, pretty much. So the people who were building the city. And years after, we're gonna have a very different evaluation of this type of accent. And then I have another example, and I believe I have time to show this. So I have two excerpts, two parts of two books. The first one is blacked out because I'm pretty sure people are going to recognize this first one. The second one, not so sure, but the first one definitely. So I'm gonna go through them, okay, to show how different dialects can try to portray and represent different social values, even in literature, in written texts. So the first one goes, shh, said this person again. Listen, come and see me later. I'm not promising I'll tell you anything, mind, but don't go ranting about it in here. Students are supposed to know. They'll think I've told you. And then this character stops talking. So I see somebody here got it, the right answer already. I was going to ask, who is this character who's talking like that? And I can see down here, Hagrid, right? Any ideas from which book? In which book Hagrid says that? You guys remember? Yeah, the Philosopher's Stone, right? I mean, or the Sorcerer's Stone in some other countries. So very good, very good. And look how language is used to show how Hagrid had more education or less education than other students, you know, from other characters from Harry Potter. And I have a second part down here. I'm gonna go very quick on this, which is from the book Tuck Everlasting by Natalie Babbitt. And if we keep going, I won't read everything, but I would like you all to pay attention to he don't ever seem to settle in himself, which is the part with the red arrow. But it's very common for books, movies, TV series to show these varieties of language, especially to show, because mind, right, those are native speakers of English, to show how society, social factors are related to language. But I mean, we know all that, right? That's pretty much like that this is very obvious. So I would like to go and talk a little bit about linguistics, because I believe you all like linguistics, right? So that's, I mean, what I'm going to do on Wednesday. Oh, there's this webinar about linguistics. So yeah, let's go there. I bring here those three handsome men, very, very handsome, very, very young, all of them. I mean, definitely very, very intelligent. And I would like to try to create sort of a linguistic theory timeline, all right? So linguistics became a science per se with Ferdinand de Saussure. He's not the first linguist, mind that, of course, but he came up with this theory called structuralism, in which he pretty much says, okay, so language is a system contained within itself. And look how beautiful. This is the type of thing we say during dinner. You know, when nobody has anything to say, you just say that. Very beautiful. And he's going to say that you have pretty much a system of differences. So you have somehow what Saussure tries to do, I'm thinking about Chomsky, sorry. What Saussure tries to do is show that language is a system of oppositions. And I'll try to show that on the next slides. We do have Noam Chomsky next, and he comes up with the generative grammar, in which he tries to create a system of universal rules. So he comes up with this set of features, and pretty much this set of features would explain how any language works. So how you can explain how the phonetics for one language here works, and on the other side of the world, you can use the same features and explain them. But again, here on Chomsky, we are talking about a system of universal rules, all right? So this is a very strong theory as well. And I bring William Labov, which is this very beautiful, handsome gentleman in the last picture. And by the way, there is a talk from Labov that happened last year. You guys can check that on the Abraling channel on YouTube. And if I'm not mistaken, the name of his talk is Justice as Linguistics as Adjusted to Matter. Not sure now. So yeah, you're gonna see the similarities between my title and his, of course, in this order, of course. But Labov is variationist. So he works with linguistic variation. Sorry. And pretty much he's going to try to show the context in which language occurs. Mind, if we take a look here, Labov's the only one who's going to try to say, okay, I'll try to bring society inside my linguistic theory. Linguistics, language is a system, and like defining language is something very, very complicated, right? Is it what you write? Is it what you speak? Is it what you think? So if the person can't speak or if the person can't listen, do they have language? If you didn't have any language, would you think? Because when you think, you're thinking using a language, right? So you see, there are many, many other theories. I just brought these three, okay? There are many, many other different theories, and they each complement each other somehow. But I would like to show how each one of those three portrays language, how they represent language. And I believe you all recognize the first one. So on structuralism, what we have is pretty much the symbols. And here I'm thinking about phonetics, okay? He's thinking about symbols to represent sounds. So I'm using here the TH sound, okay? So on words like thank you or brother, for instance. So that's what you would find, the first two symbols. That's what you would find on the IPA, the International Phonetics Alphabet, right? If you want to represent the same sound, this very same sound on generative grammar, this is how you would represent it. You would need to use a set of features, and this is Chomsky, okay, on how those sounds work. So, okay, it's plus consonant because we have a block in the airflow, so we are not talking about vowels. It's continuant because somehow you have this, like, you know, sound, the air coming out in a way. It can be plus or minus voiced because you have your vocal cords vibrating or not. It's coronal because you have your tongue like working. And it's anterior because pretty much whenever you say brother, right, you have this tongue going forward. And I'm going to come back to that in some slides. But if you ask a person who works with linguistic variety, they're going to say, okay, so you're talking about dental fricatives. That's the fancy name we use in linguistics. And then it all depends on which type of group of people or community you're looking at. So you can have, I have here, this example comes from Labov. Okay, so you can have different types of representations using the IPA for this type of sound. So I would like to go real quick into this. How can we see linguistic variation? So it can be seen as a natural process, definitely. So I believe everybody knows here, right? This chart, the vowel chart, part of the IPA, so beautiful. I used a lot. I had the opportunity to use a lot in some of my classes. But pretty much what we have here is the representation. So this is how the mouth works whenever you're producing or realizing the linguistic term vowels. So what we have to check, we have to see how your tongue goes up and down, pretty much. If the sound you're producing is close to, it's like the back of your mouth or the front of your mouth. And you also have to check if your lips are rounding or not. This is how pretty much vowels would be reproduced or produced whenever we're speaking. But I would like to show, and let me just scroll down my slides here so I won't get lost. There is one phenomenon, actually I would call it phenomena because we have many different types of situations, called the Great Vowel Shift. Not sure if you are all familiar. I believe you are all familiar with this term, the Great Vowel Shift, in which diphthongs and certain vowels are spoken differently depending on the linguistic community the person is in. So I brought this example here, and this comes from Penelope Eckert, which is a brilliant linguist as well. And what we have here, in this community, this person who is speaking, the low sounds of the vowels, they are not produced exactly like low sounds. They are produced like mid sounds. So they are a little bit, you know, like the tongue goes a little bit higher whenever this person is speaking this sound. And you say, okay, that's accent. This person is speaking this different, normal. But what happens is, here is that this sound that is in the middle is going to be pushed up. So the low sound is going to be pronounced as a mid sound. This mid sound is going to be pronounced as a high sound. The high sound is going to be pushed next, like sideways, and it's going to be pronounced as something else. So what you have is like how the linguistic repertoire is being rearranged because of one small variation. And this happens naturally. Nobody comes to you and say, hey, you can't say house, you should say hose. Or, oh, you shouldn't say hose, you should say house, you know? And then I have another very interesting slide here. I believe this one will be better so nobody will sleep. We have two lists of words, right? And in my English variety, when I am speaking English, my Brazilian English with my accent, which I'm very proud of, by the way, I pronounce those two columns exactly the same. But some Canadians, they don't. They have differences whenever they pronounce them. So I would like to know from you, I'll give you all 10 seconds to write here, please. Do you pronounce those two columns the same? Am I alone or not? Because I pronounce them exactly the same. Like, there's no difference for me. I don't even know how to start. Like, caught, I mean, not sure. Let me get some water while I check all your answers. I have no idea. Maybe Dawn. I think I can. This one, the third one, I believe I would try, but not sure. Haul, caught, hawk, dawn. I don't know. I'm listening to myself. Is there a difference? Dawn. Can you guys feel anything? Dawn. Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, for me, it's the only one that looks different when I'm speaking. But dawn. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. So that's my variety. So I'll just keep going on the same, you know. And yes, and we are talking about native speakers, right? Canadians, people who were born in the United States. So yeah, this is a very interesting, I don't know, maybe test to be done. Maybe somebody said here a longer pitch. That's okay. That's nice. Maybe. I need to try this. I need to practice this because I really don't know how to do them differently. Oh, maybe like a little glide. Okay. Caught. Yeah, I'll go back into that after. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was not born for that. So yeah, hawk, dawn. Anyway, but yeah, this is the, you know, like this. If this is the mystery of the day, at least for me. And then I just wanted to show something, because whenever you have to check pronunciation online, this is what you're gonna get. And I got this print from vowel pronunciation. That's what I wrote there. I wrote diphthongs pronunciation. We have this formula, right? So, okay, so you have face, spade, rain, case, and 8. This is the IPA symbol. Follow this, you know? And this is very, very interesting because, okay, so the great vowel shift, some people speak this differently. So it's, okay, so maybe this is not a formula we can follow for every situation, for every group, right? And then I'll just go a little bit faster on this one because then we can have time. But we also have this situation, and I would like to go back to linguistic variation and geography, because in the world, around the world, we have 54 countries that have English as an official language or as a native language. So in all those countries, people have their documents signed in English. In all those countries, people go to schools in which teachers are going to use English as the means of instruction. So, I mean, they speak English since they were young. Or at least better, let me rephrase this. They have contact with English since they were young. But 54, I just saw some questions popping here, so it's 54. Not 54 as native, but 54 counting official language and also official means of instruction, so the language they use at schools. And this is very interesting because if you take a look at some materials, and I'm gonna bring an example here, okay? Not the only one, of course, but whenever we talk about varieties of English, and this goes back to the meme I was using, we always make this division, okay? So you have British English, you have American English, and yeah, that's what we have, you know? That's pretty much what we have. But we do have 54 countries that speak English. And sometimes, I believe most materials, Maybe nowadays things are changing. I believe we can find more materials that are using different varieties of English. But somehow, sometimes we just stay stuck, you know, to British, American. So it's yeah, it's interesting to look at this division as well. And for our next part, I would like to go back. Let me just load here. Okay, to the memes. Yeah, help me here. The memes are nice. So I would like to go back into the TH pronunciation. And we were talking a little bit about vowels, so I'd like to talk a little bit about a different sound. But yeah, let me go through this first. So this is a step-by-step on how you should pronounce the TH sound. So first you place the tip of your tongue behind your top teeth. You breathe out. You retract tongue. You vibrate air behind tongue and say, the Smiths wear thin clothes throughout the winter months. And then they say, oh, you should just consult a dentist because, you know, it's very funny. And Maria Inez just wrote here, there's always something funny concerning the TH sounds. Definitely. Take a look at the other one. This one, I was nice. I have a folder on my computer full of memes. So when I was creating the presentation, the slides, I said, you know, this is my moment. I'm going to use all of them. But now, yeah, and I lost some of them. I had some other very good memes. So sorry, I lost some of them. But another one, when your English teacher explains how to pronounce TH, you know, and yeah, somebody said, oh, the cat is speaking French. I agree. And I mean, but why? Why only the TH sound, you know, like why people get so concerned? Lots of studies show that the TH sound is not that important. You know, I mean, no, the TH sound is important, but vowels, diphthongs, maybe those sounds, they have bigger impact on intelligibility whenever you're speaking and like trying to, you know, make people understand what you're saying. And this is what comes to, I'm gonna show you, I believe everybody here is from Humanas, right? Any people from Exatas, number lovers? Because I'm gonna show a graph with some numbers. I'm just checking my notes here to make sure I'm not losing anything. No, I think I'm okay. So yeah, bear with me, okay? I promise this will be painless. I think when I learned this in my classes, it took me like a long time to understand this graph, like what it was representing. Because okay, like between us, this is a study from William Labov. Okay, William Labov created sociolinguistics. He's the man. But yeah, take a look at this. You know, not very like I mean, anyway. So this is a study about the TH sound in New York City. Okay, so Labov in 1970, around that, he made a sociolinguistic study in New York City with native speakers. And what we can see on the left column, okay, so we have inner dental, dental, and affricate are the varieties he found, so the sounds he found for the TH sound. And so pretty much what he did, Labov did something called a sociolinguistic interview. And that's what I had to do during my master's degree. Pretty much you go to people's house, you have a tape recorder, you put the tape recorder on the table, you press record and say, tell me about your life. What are your fears? What are your dreams? Tell me about your childhood memories, who you like here in the street, who is fighting with whom, like, you know, tell me about your life. And then people, somehow, some people even give you cake and coffee, you know, very, very nice people. But the people start talking, and then what Labov is really trying to do is he's having like, he's recording what people are speaking. So he has linguistic evidence on how people speak. And then he crosses this linguistic evidence depending on their social groups. So see how clever Labov is. So bear with me here, okay? The vertical line we have, the vertical axis shows the percentage of the number of TH sounds Labov got that are not pronounced like this. So the sounds that are not done like thank you and brother, like standard English. So all those sounds, all the percentage here, not standard, okay? Each line that comes down is a social group. All right, so the first line on the top is working class, all right? And from working class, it starts to get like, you know, higher as you go down, which is not so ironic, actually, we're gonna see that why. But the last line is like the higher class, you know, people with money, you know, people we don't meet because they only like, they don't take the subway, they don't take the bus. Yeah, we don't meet these people. because they have a lot of money. Okay, so that's the people on the last line. And what we see on the horizontal axis, don't sleep, please, don't sleep. Okay, this is going to be nice. We see 4 letters: A, B, C, and D. So letter A is it's a style of speech, so a style of interview in which the speaker is like it's a very informal interview. So like this conversation, you put the tape recorder on the table. Hey, tell me about your dog. I don't know, tell me about your life. That's the style. As you go to B and C, what Labov asked his interviewees to do was, okay, so take a look at this newspaper. Can you read this article for me? And then, like, what happens is, okay, Labov is asking me to read this. He has the tape recorder on the table and it's on. So he's going to pay attention, like, to how I speak. So I'm going to, like, pay more attention to what I'm saying, you know? So you have a more monitored context here, a scenario. If you go to letter D, remember that those 2 columns I showed with words. Letter D is literally 2 columns of words with very close sounds. And then Labov said, okay, you know, read to me, please, each one of those words. Here the person knows, okay, this guy, like, you know, he's paying attention to how I speak, so I have to know, speak correctly, or I have to know how to speak here. And if you take a look, all social groups, all the lines, they go down. So in more informal settings, people don't speak, they don't pronounce, they don't realize the TH sound as thank you. They're gonna do that as thank you or thank you, if that's the last sound, that's the affricate. Even people with money, it's almost like 15%, I think, if you take a look here. But as you are being more monitored, as people are paying attention to you, all of them, doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, if you ride a bus, or I don't know, if you have a helicopter, you're gonna pay attention to what you're saying. You're not going to say thank you, you're gonna say thank you. So this only shows why we have this big concern when we take a look at materials and whenever they are teaching the TH sound. TH sound for people in the United States is a matter of prestige. If you speak it wrong, okay, you are not educated. You don't have money. I mean, you know, you just, yeah, you don't belong here. And the same thing happens in United Kingdom. But in United Kingdom, and I'm gonna show these 2 maps, we have a phenomenon called the TH fronting. And this phenomenon, pretty much, people would change TH for the F. So you won't say thank you. Somebody just said here, oh, I like to say thank you, right? So yeah, thank you, you know, other words that you start, think, you're gonna have those words. And again, I have here, this is a study from Kurzweil. It was done in 1950, close to that decade. And you have people from big cities doing that, you know? But what all of them have in common is that they are all from low status groups. So again, we have society showing, okay, this is the pronunciation of low status groups. This is what's happening here. And it's interesting to see that Kurzweil didn't do, in this study specifically, he didn't do this different methodology of study just like Labov. Labov created this sociolinguistics methodology of study, which is very, very interesting. Very, very, lots of work, of course, definitely. But it's very interesting when you get to those, to this data, you know, like when you can see this, what's going on. And then I have 2 slides to show very, very quick. If you Google, how do I pronounce the TH sound? This is what you find. The IPA is showing up. Okay, so these are the symbols. You have to use your tongue. Can I say thank you? No. Can I say thank you? No. You have to put your tongue like on the, how they say, like between your teeth. I don't remember the meme, actually. So that's what they're saying. So we are just like getting, okay, so this prestige thing that comes from outside, from other countries, we are just like importing that and saying, hey, Brazilians, we can't do that because, oh, why? Because they don't do that outside. Abroad, they do actually. But I mean, it's a matter of prestige, right? And this can get it, even this type of evaluation gets even into more, how can I put this, more interesting settings. Because take a look at this. I believe lots of you are familiar with proficiency exams, right? We have Cambridge main suit exams as well. And I use it to work as a speaking examiner for quite some time. And I remember when we were being trained, we would have access to some interesting, like, footage of some people being tested, because of course we needed to do our jobs. And then I remember I started studying on my own. So I said, okay, what can I study? Let me see how other examiners work. And there is this page online in which you can have free access to different comments of examiners. And this is the comment on one examiner on, I don't really remember, I think the boy is from Switzerland. And this is the comment on his pronunciation. So his pronunciation is generally intelligible, though there are occasional errors. Focus on this word, please. With some sounds like think pronounced with F. And again, this is what somehow we keep in mind when we teach our students these sounds. Like we are very worried that, okay, they are going to sound like people who don't have a lot of education, or people from other areas, like not urban areas. So yeah, they can't do that. But we just saw, if you want to speak like a native and you pronounce think, that's native. I mean, they're native too, right? So this is something maybe us to think about. I don't know. And I would like to go, I know we have 10 minutes, so I'll just try to make this short, but very, very quick. From another point of view, I live in the countryside. I was born in the city of São Paulo, but I live now in the countryside. And there are many different ways of pronouncing the R, right, here in Portuguese. Whenever I say like door, I would say porta. Depending on if I'm more monitored or less monitored, I would say something like porta, like we say in São Paulo. But it's very common in Brazil for people to listen to porta, right? And I would ask, is any of those pronunciations wrong? I don't know. Any ideas? Any thoughts on that? I would love to listen. While I get some water, that's my strategy, So any ideas? I can see, yeah, porta, nice. Somebody said just different. That's good. And I would say that's actually more than different. That has a lot of history behind it. Because if you take a map, and I should have put a map here, the porta, we call it road R, trilled R. There are different names for it. But porta only exists in the regions in Brazil where we had lots of native Indians coming into contact with the Portuguese when they came to Brazil and destroyed everything. So this R is a memory of what happened years, decades, centuries ago. And it still echoes in our language. If you take a look at the map, and you guys can Google this very, very quickly, which places in Brazil have the retroflex R, you're going to see only regions in which we had this big contact between native Indians and Portuguese, because they didn't have this R sound, the trill sound, in what we call syllable coda, the ending of the syllables. So yeah, it's complicated, to say that one or another is wrong. It's like erasing history somehow, right? And I would just like, I'll just go by this one, but we really have to think, and I think this is the main message I have here. What we have to avoid thinking of languages as commodities. So for example, one of the official languages of Pakistan is English. But whenever somebody comes to you, if you're a private English teacher, and they say, okay, I want to speak like a native, and you say, okay, so can I teach you Pakistani English? Because English is an official language. I don't know. I mean, try it out. Because it's complicated, but it's native. I mean, if you speak like a Pakistani person, you're native. They use this. They learn at school. Their documents, their IDs are in English. I mean, how come, And let me just check, because I do know we only have 5 minutes. So I think I would just skip to my last slide. I had another meme here, but pretty much I had some insights on American Black English as well. But I can always send those slides to any of you who have any interest on this. I love talking about this. But I'll just go to this one, okay, so I can end real quick. I believe this is a quote from Mamoru Oshii. He's a director. And he says, "We weep for a bird's cry, but not for a fish's blood. Blessed are those with a voice." So yes, we do have lots of issues we bring to ELT, especially now that we have some special interest groups that are related to global issues. But I believe maybe looking into language, accent discrimination, language prejudice, linguistic prejudice, sorry. Maybe just looking into that, you can get lots of insights to fight more things and maybe to try to stop bigger discriminations. And I don't know, maybe to, foster critical thinking. Language itself, just like a flap of a tongue, as Labov says, can be more than that. I think just with a flap of a tongue, you can just go straight to the point. So I do have some work, written work on this. So if you have any interest, I would love to send to all of you for any other texts if you have any interest. These are my references, some of them that I used, and I have my email here. Okay, thank you so much for being here this afternoon. It was a pleasure. It was awesome. Well, this is my email, so thank you so much. If you have any questions, we do have 5 minutes. We have 4 minutes and a half. So maybe if I can help with anything, I would love to. Thank you so much for being here. It was incredible. Let me check here. I do have the question and answer mode. So Roman Empire, that's good. Let me see if I have anything. Somebody mentioned the limits of my languages are the limits of my world. I love this quote. David Crystal, somebody talked about, yes, that's good. Other linguists, definitely, they do an amazing job. I mean, it's because of time. I had to choose 3. Sorry. But yeah, definitely, we have lots of people. That's good. Somebody said I'm married to a native speaker, and he said he doesn't see any difference between the words. That's good. The columns. Thank you and thank you. How to improve the phonetics without being foreign. That's interesting. Sergio asked this, right down here in the end. Oh, somebody said pronunciation mistakes can lead to misunderstanding and offenses. That's true. I believe, and I think I can talk a little bit about these two at the same time. Focusing on intelligibility, and this is what English as lingua franca is trying to do, right? We have the lingua franca course, so the set of features, right? Sorry, it's been a long day. The set of features we have in English as lingua franca, maybe they can help in this. Okay, so how can I be intelligible even though if I have this accent or maybe my dialect, if it's too strong? Maybe working on this. I would say in a very quick way, if you have the right intonation, because intonation in English plays a big part, right? A big role. Like I'm going to present my slides, I have a present for you. I mean, and this somehow we don't have this in Portuguese. So thinking of Brazilian speakers, I think this would be, this is something we have to look into. And besides that, of course, maybe check which variety, which variable, as we say, or we are using for each sound. If we say thank you or thank you for a TH sound, that's nice. Probably it's close. So we have some features. If you look, and this is where Chomsky's work comes into. If you take a look at Chomsky's features, you're going to see that lots of the features from thank you and thank you are presented in the TH sound. So maybe that's why intelligibility is possible. That's why you can understand what people are speaking. But yeah, I would definitely, and if, for instance, you say something like thank you, okay, so thank doesn't have this, you don't have this airflow going into the same way. So yeah, I would say maybe English as lingua franca, the main core ideas, they would help a lot in this sense. But I do believe it's important for us to watch out and not strip out or take away anything that shows our identity. Okay, so I am Brazilian. This is my English, it's like depending on the label or the prestige that nativeness has to people who are outside or listening to us. Yeah, I think we just can't let go of our identity. Yeah, we have to fight a lot. We Brazilians, I mean, what country, right? So yeah, we have to fight a lot already. So I would say try to keep our identity. Let me see. Also, I changed my chat here, so let me just go down. Oh, thank you so much. I'm getting lots of love here. This is awesome. This is awesome. I believe this presentation will be recorded and will be available on YouTube. Not sure when, but I think so. I think it will. But if any of you would like any text, more insights, even, I don't know, to chat about this, just send me an email, please. I have my email here on the slides, okay? I can even type here, so it will be easier for you all just to, oops, sorry, I'm typing everything wrong. Just copy and paste, you know. I would love, just send me an email. I can send the slides, I can send the references, texts. I do believe this is an important subject, and it would be awesome, you know, if we could talk a little bit more about this. Let me see if I have any other questions. I don't think so. So everybody, we have just hit 1 hour of webinar. So I would like to thank you all very much once again for being here. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I will close the presentation now because we already we have reached our time. But thank you. It was incredible. I hope you all stay safe, and I really, really hope to see you all in another event or another conference. Hopefully face-to-face, right? So we can have a chat and maybe a coffee, grab a cup of coffee after. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great week, and stay safe, please. So bye-bye.